double time. "Sometime this fucking year," Baldy grunted. My feet felt numb, but I got on them and crossed the cell to the door. The blonde took me by the elbow and tugged me out and along the hallway. The concrete out here rougher against my bare soles than in the floor of my cell. Maybe from all the jackbooted assholes marching around out here and scuffing it up. The hallway lacked windows, but dim fluorescents hung at intervals along the ceiling. One of them kept flickering. I resisted the urge to fight, to struggle, to try for a few more minutes of living. It wouldn't matter, and I'd end up beaten or tased into unconsciousness. I'd never even see how they were going to end me. Somehow that seemed worse than at least knowing how I was going to die. For the few seconds between finding out and actually, dying. Blondie led me to the left, and I stumbled, my legs trying to carry me the other way. The labs were to the right, along the hallway and up the stairs. I'd been heading that way on autopilot, even though every time I'd been there I'd been some combination of bored, hurt, and terrified. But we went left, and the bald guard fell in behind us. The urge to fight hit me again. A couple of years, I thought. But I couldn't be sure of living in that cell, alternately experimented on and ignored, had left me thinner and weaker than I'd been. But werewolves were resilient, and I'd started off tall, muscular, and able to fight. I could still fight. Except that every time I'd fought, I'd lost. They had weapons, and these guards might not smell like much except the sharp, acrid tingle of magic that obscured their natural sense. But they weren't human. They were stronger than me, and armed. I'd lose again. I walked down the hallway, the blonde's grip on my arm firm but short of punishing. He knew I wouldn't run. He knew I wouldn't fight. Somehow, paradoxically, that drained the last of the impulse to fight right out of me. I didn't used to be like that. I used to be a contrary bastard. We reached the end of the hall, and Baldy pushed past me to put his hand against a panel set into the wall by a metal door that stank of magic. The panel glowed faintly purple for a moment, and a heavy thunk and click echoed from inside the door. The blonde pulled it open. The room beyond lay in murky shadows, and I could only see a glint of something metallic. He shoved me through, and I stumbled and tripped a few steps inside. "Brought you something to play with," the bald guard said, his voice thick with something foul and anticipatory, making my heart skip a beat and the hair stand up on the back of my neck. And then the door slammed shut behind me. The scent hit me first. It wasn't a bad scent exactly, although no smells in this place had ever been mouth-watering. It was a terrifying scent. Hot iron and bone-freezing chill, like fresh blood spilled on glacier ice, with a vein of uncontrollable wildness running beneath. I blinked and stumbled back again, my shoulder blades hitting the door hard. I pressed my palms against it, clammy flesh on unyielding cool metal. A faint chink of metal sounded in front of me, and I blinked again, adjusting to the lack of light. After a moment, dim slits of twilight gray resolved out of the darkness. Tiny windows like those in my own cell, high up in the wall across from me. I focused on them, hard. If I looked at those, I didn't need to see anything else. Whatever was in this cell with me, I didn't want to know. The scent had intensified, richer and sharper both, becoming mesmerizing. And the sense of menace that came with it had grown too. I really didn't want to know.